Grey County.
Welcome to Grey County Life at Home. I'm one of your hosts, Rhonda Brown, with the delightful Charles and Miss Mary Jane Murray. Good morning, Mary Jane. How are you this week?
Oh, good morning, Rhonda. And it is so good to have the two of us back together again for Grey County Life. And a big thank you to David Shearman for filling in for us. He's such a great presenter for Rogers TV and has been with them for over 15 plus years. It was the perfect person to step in, apparently on very short notice, last week. So it's good to be back and seeing you, and we're both well and healthy.
Yes, and Mr. Charlie is feeling just fine. He has a definite skip in his step with the spring-like weather that we've had, even though today is the day of apparent freezing rain expectations and buses are canceled and all that business, but at least spring is in the air. It's on the way. It is coming, no matter what, right?
Right. Well, we're looking forward to that. And also, we're in transition, too, around the mask and no mask transition that's happening in our communities. So some people are going to be wearing masks and some people will not, depending on how they feel about the situation. And I'm just hoping that everyone is respectful for the choices that we're having to make.
I think they will be. I mean, I think, you know, we've gotten so used to having them on. Like somebody said to me, I feel naked going into a store without my mask on. I said, I know, it's so strange. And it, you know, as odd as it sounds, it gives you a bit of anonymity, or at least you think you do, because people don't recognize you in your mask. But I think we've gotten awfully good at recognizing each other with just the eyeballs, but
well,
yeah.
So you were mentioning too that there's a blood clinic coming up.
Yeah, I saw it on actually the CFOS website. I like to go on there to get local news and that sort of thing. And it says April the 6th, which is a Wednesday at the Legion. There will be a blood donor clinic. So if you're able to get out and participate for that, it's absolutely a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's really important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I wanted to mention is the fact that there's a big promotion for Earth Day coming up on April 26th, and there's a lot of community engagement. But I think most of the festivities are going to be at the farmers market, and we're going to be talking with Ostertag. I've just lost his first name. Coming up. Welcome Ostertag coming up, and he'll be on the show around Earth Day. But the other thing too is that's leading into spring and Earth, and the Grey Sauble Conservation is having their summer day camp, and registrations are open now, getting the kids outside and engaged in the science and just being outdoors. That is a really good thing. So if you're interested and have kids who just, after 2 years, need to be outside, that's for sure. Even adults too. It's too bad they don't have one for adults.
Yeah.
But I also follow Autumn Peltier, and she is a water warrior, and I follow her on Facebook. And just happened to come across a video that she has done around water, the water walker, it's called. And it's just amazing the leadership that this teenage girl has impacted so many of us at such an early age. And I recommend if you go to her Facebook and click on the link for this video, it's really inspiring. So we've got Earth Day celebrations, Grey Sauble Day Camp, Autumn Peltier, and we really need to take a really close look and take care of our environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's, it's amazing how many things we get exposed to via the internet. I mean, there's so much information coming at us all the time. So I kind of like that you glean some stuff and share it, and I can glean some stuff and share it, and we all stay somewhat informed. Although, as we were saying, if I don't put it in my calendar, I don't remember it. It's just dreadful, just dreadful. But that's just the way it goes. And you know what? April 26th, also as a quick mention, is Bowl for Kids' Sake. And Mark Perry, our producer and big wig at our Rogers, he's getting together a team of bowlers this year. So that would be pretty cool to support the team and maybe, I don't know, I didn't even ask Mark if we can have people that aren't with Rogers on the team, because it is our Rogers team, but maybe you could, if you feel like going out bowling, give us a call.
Well, the other thing too is they're raising money. So if you're not a bowler, you can always make a donation.
Yes. See now, Mary Jane, you are good at getting that information out there. There you go. Well, it's been an interesting week for sure for all of us, and with health issues and weather and all that business, but we are back in the saddle again this week.
Oh, I'm so glad to be able to do that. I have one little update to make. Do we have time?
I think so. Yeah, we've got a whole minute left.
Well, Grey Roots is setting up their digital exhibit for Politics and Pearls, Inspiring Women of Grey County. And I think it's really important for us to know our history. But coming up later in April, the last Wednesday in April, we have the Honorable Dr. Jean Augustine coming on the show to talk about her film, Steadfast. And she was the first Black woman in the House, elected to the House of Commons. So this will be very inspiring, and looking forward to not only seeing her film, but also having a conversation with her.
Absolutely. That is something to look forward to. In the meantime, we'll be back after these messages with Grey County Life at Home. Stay tuned.
This program is brought to you by NHL Center Ice. Follow the teams and players you want to watch no matter where they play. NHL Center Ice is part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack.
When we turn a blind eye to racism, we turn a blind eye to ourselves. As Canadians, we disavow all forms of racism. Built on a foundation of cultural acceptance, we choose inclusion, promote equality, and celebrate diversity. Choose health, not hate.
As the fighting continues in Ukraine, thousands of people are fleeing for their lives, forced to leave everything behind. You can help them. Your donation to the Humanitarian Coalition will provide food, water, shelter, and medical care to the people of Ukraine who urgently need it. Call 1-855-461-2154 or donate online today at together.ca. That's together.ca. The Humanitarian Coalition. Together, saving more lives.
Hi, I'm Colby Barlow. I'm a right winger with the Owen Sound Attack. Get great OHL action on Rogers TV as we bring you Owen Sound Attack games live, both home and away.
Welcome back to Grey County Life at Home. Our first guests of the week, Miss Mary Jane, would you like to introduce them?
Oh, yes, and it is my pleasure because I've known Tracy for such a long time, and it's just lovely to see her again. But we have Tracy Leroux and Ryan Ball, who are both employment specialists with Leads. And Leads is an employment service, not for profit, that we have in our community. And so grateful to have this service in our community. So welcome, Tracy, and welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
We're going to, Tracy and I used to sit around these community tables in lots of meetings. So It's been, what, 2.5 years since I've seen you? And
oh my goodness, Mary Jane. The last time we saw each other was in person, I think at a chamber event at the Roxy, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And you won an award.
We did. And hey, we are always so proud of that. And that's part of telling you today. That was back in 2019 that we won the People's Choice Award. And we were so honored to take that home with us to our office. It was great.
Oh, well, as Leads is an important service that we have in our community, and we're so grateful to have that. But we should actually talk about your services and let people know what's been going on for the past 2 years.
Absolutely, Mary Jane. And thanks for having Ryan and I on today. Leads has absolutely, we pivoted when pandemic hit, and we've been offering services business as per usual. We've always been a virtual and mobile. So it was a fairly small pivot that we had to make, right? So doing what we're doing on here now, meeting people virtually, supporting individuals with their employment goals, offering supports to employers ongoing to get people placed to rebuild the economy, which is so important, right? Just a little background on Leads for folks who may not be familiar. We've been around since 1986, supporting people with disabilities and barriers to employment. Our head office is actually located out of London, and we opened up shop in Grey Bruce back in 2013, I believe. And I myself have been around since 2014 doing the do, and we are not for profit, so programs do come and go. The one that's stuck in most as a staple for us ongoing is typically our Odsp employment supports program, where we are focusing on supporting those folks that have disabilities and barriers to employment. And we do everything from beginning of meeting with the individual, offering such services as resume writing, mock interview support, and even throughout pandemic, we were actually at some points able to go out and support people on site in their employment positions. Due to the fact that we were deemed finally at one point as an essential service, right, to support those folks. So throughout pandemic, off the cuff, we have literally, this is throughout organization, we have literally supported over 1,500 job seekers in placement throughout our communities, which is Grey Bruce, Elgin, Middlesex, Lambton, Oxford, and Perth counties. It's so important to be responsive to resetting and restarting our economy. So it's been a lot of, engaging with individuals and even, providing those skill development and mental health supports and services to folks just to get them out of the isolation, right? I mean, that's a huge thing that we've come up against, and collaborating with other services in our community, such as Grey Bruce Health Services, CMHA, and all working and teaming up together to do the do as a team. Together we can, right?
Well, I think that's really important. And I'm just wondering how your clients have managed through the pandemic, because they may have been affected by the business closing down, and then they're not employed for a period of time. So Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about helping to get those folks back into the swing of things?
Well, in cases like that, where some of the businesses have closed, we take into consideration what experience that some of these clients have, and we try and get them placed in a similar environment that is very accommodating to their very diverse needs. We have a lot of great partnerships with our local businesses, both in small business and corporate, that are more than willing to take our clients on and give them a head start, which is awesome. And we're growing all the time, so there's lots to be done around here, which is great.
I'm just wondering, so are these ongoing relationships you have, or is this a sort of thing where you get them placed and okay, you're on your own now, or is it ongoing?
No,
go ahead, Ryan.
No, it is very much ongoing. As Tracy mentioned earlier, we do on-site job coaching. Some of our employers that we deal with, they've taken multiple clients on, and we have some new relationships with new businesses that have come into the local area that are more than willing to entertain our clients as well. So as we get more participants enrolled into certain programs like our Youth Options program or Odsp employment supports, we are working very hard to get them placed. So,
and on top of that, in saying that, we even obtained a new program in pandemic, which is awesome. Yeah. Our Youth Options program. That particular program, as well as another program that would be geared to folks maybe that are over 30. Ryan's going to talk to you about the Youth Options program in more detail, but both options for youth and workplace success are very heavily funded programs where there's extensive supports and subsidies, support and financial support available to both the client participating as well as the employer. So we can literally offer out such things as counseling, transportation, clothing, grocery cards to the said participant. Then there's the employers where we can offer out to pay the entire wage throughout their placement. Not to mention all the on-site job coaching that we can provide as well too. So we are funded both by the Ministry of Community and Social Services, as well as Service Canada. So we have a lot of funding pockets available, and we definitely utilize the funds to support economic growth and our clients.
Well, it sounds like a win-win. The benefit to the client and the benefit to the employer in terms of, and then of course you keep talking about the growing our economy, but not only do we grow our economy, but we also grow confidence in our employees.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the main workshops that everybody will partake in and participate in, is building confidence and self-esteem, as well as such other topics, coping skills, and generally anything else that we feel. We start out supporting folks first in building that confidence and focusing on those mental health supports so that we can move forward beyond that. Because we all know we got to be feeling right mentally in order to participate. I mean, that's the key. So we're all about that life stabilization first and foremost, prior to moving into the employment and skill development component.
Wow.
So when you do those skill development, are you doing it one-on-one, or is it like a workshop, a virtual workshop where folks tune in?
For those participants that are enrolled in our Youth Options program, they do group sessions. Those that are not involved in that program will do some on a one-to-one basis, depending on what their needs are. It's very much individualized because of one person may need one certain thing and another one will need something totally different. And we're very much accommodating that way. So.
Absolutely. Everybody receives what we would call on our end an employment action plan, right? Yeah. And they're written and they're administered on an individual basis. So what one individual may need, the other may not, right? So someone may need what we would call a work accommodation and or a job carve. So we go out to employers and they're just crying for people, like good people who are going to suit up and show up and come to work. Some of our folks may not be able to do the entire job that the employer is seeking. So then we're talking to that employer to say, hey, this individual is capable of doing ABC, for example. However, they may not be the best at serving the public or operating the cash register, doing technical things that are required. But we want to make sure that they're here and they're there and that they're going to be an asset to your business. And many employers are very receptive to that because they need people, they need staff, right? Absolutely. Some employers do require individuals and have expectations of folks where we may not be able to make an accommodation plan. But that's okay. We move on then to the next employer to offer our supports and services.
So are your resources expanding and growing so that you can service more people, more clients? Like, what kind of numbers have you seen increase? I'm just thinking, gee whiz, during the pandemic, a lot of people are struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as numbers go, we do get stat reports that come out weekly. And I think on average, on a weekly basis, and again, keep in mind, this is throughout our entire organization, there are some weeks that we're administering up to, I think, 700 or 800 appointments across the board, right? I mean, up here, Ryan and I it varies from week to week, but typically we're supporting each 45 to 50 people each in the Grey Bruce area. And the beautiful thing that we have found throughout pandemic is we can serve more virtually on screen. We may have a client, a participant out in Durham and one in Port Elgin, one in Owen Sound. And because there are only two of us up here administering lead supports and services, we can really maximize our manpower being on screen with folks. When we obtain employment for them, at that point, we got to get creative. We then will often bring in some of their support workers. We team up together as community support providers to do and make sure that they're looked after, and just finagling with our schedules to make sure we can be in several places at any given time.
Well, certainly it's a challenge with the geography of Grey Bruce because it is so expansive. But at the same time, what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of collaboration with other community partners. And having sat around so many of those tables, you know that all the agencies come with really good hearts and wanting to support their clients and their community in so many ways. And it's difficult through the pandemic when you didn't have those people sitting around the table, but I anticipate that those meetings were still going on and those collaborations were still going on during the pandemic as best as organizations were able to pivot.
Absolutely. And we've really found that the funders of the programming have obviously made exceptions in places that they may never have made exceptions before, right? To the point of people coming forward and indicating on requirement of counseling, transportation, dental supports, and ultimately through programming, we have absolutely put those requests forward to the government funders, and they have approved it, right? For somebody who is just not doing well mentally, or they have particular impression issues when they're going out into public and looking for work, if there's anything that we can do to support that piece prior to, again, going back to that building confidence and getting people out of isolation. We get comfortable behind these screens. I can even attest to that, right? But there's nothing better than getting out in front of the public and actually being able to see people again. You so-called that office camaraderie, even around the printer, right? Having the coffee in the morning with the office teams. It's a wonderful feeling that we're kind of moving and shaking back in that direction again. But certainly we definitely have seen the benefits of the pandemic in that oftentimes our participants are going to be more apt to participate on screen. It's in the comfort of their own home. So all those pre-employment skill development pieces can happen right on the screen. It's the thereafter where we really truly need to get hands-on to support.
Well, I think one of the benefits of the pandemic is that most of us have become very comfortable with the new technologies, Zoom and Skype and sharing and workshops that we've been participating in, where you have the screen sharing and the notes and that sort of thing, and learning all these little ins and outs. And I think this is a benefit to your clients too, if they have not felt comfortable with computers or technology, to be able to start to learn these skills.
That's right. Absolutely. And that's what a lot of it was, wasn't it, Ryan? It was really sitting on the phone with people and saying, okay, you got to click this button. You got to go over here and join on this browser. And oftentimes it took time, but even the feeling of accomplishment you could hear once they got themselves on screen. They're like, oh, I did it. And
I did it. Yeah.
Exciting. And it was a feat. It was like, I did it. I finally did it. And I had said I didn't think I could. So even something like that is a confidence booster.
Yeah.
100%, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And how many times did Mark have to coach Rhonda and I through some of the technology to keep our show up and running?
Absolutely, I bet.
So how does somebody get referred to your services, guys?
From a lot of different sources. Sometimes they see our posts on social media. Sometimes they see our marketing materials that are placed in places of employment or through different service providers, like say Ontario Works, Odsp, Service Ontario, what have you. Some of them will see something on Facebook. Some are referred directly through their caseworkers through places like community living, or sometimes we get referrals from the YMCA. There's a lot of partnerships with different organizations that work hand in hand and get people service, because there is a huge need. So,
what is the age? Ryan, how old do you have to be in order to access the services?
Well, for our Youth Options program, it's from 15 to 30. And for our other programs, they could basically be realistically kind of any age, like from high school on. We have clients that we support that are getting to the point where they're kind of elderly, but they are still very willing to work, and we support them in getting them wherever they want to be.
That's amazing. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on the show today to share with us the service that you offer to our community, which is obviously much needed and much appreciated. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us on. And we're sorry. Our next youth group starts on April 4th, and it just comes along every 13 weeks. So
smudging is a very important part in our life, as we're all learning to walk the good way. When we smudge, we use the sacred medicine, the white sage, the sweetgrass, the tobacco, and the cedar. It cleanses negative energy and replaces it by a positive energy. When I smudge, I cleanse my end and my eagle feather and start cleansing my breath to have better words. I will smudge my eyes so I could see the better things offered to me. I will smudge my ears to hear the good thing that people have to say. I will smudge my hair to have good thinking from my head. I will bring the smudge to my feet so I could walk in respect with our Mother, the Earth. Smudging is the way we give our prayers to connect our spirit to the Creator. We express gratitude for the gift of life, the learning, and growth.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
Welcome back to Grey County Life at Home. Rhonda and I are just swinging along with our program again, and it feels really good for the two of us to be back together. The only time I see Rhonda is on Wednesday morning. And we are so pleased to have Ann Donterman from the Gray Gallery with us again, because Gray Gallery has had this incredible way of integrating its gallery into our community in so many different ways. And we're just so grateful to have Gray Gallery new to the scene, because you've been with us for about 5 years or more.
Well, just under 4.
Yes.
And of course, most of that has been COVID time, so it hasn't normal, but
Yeah, it's kind of left everybody's memory, I think, those 2 full years. So I think we'll have to have a big celebration for you.
yes, thank you.
Well, and tell us how things have been going, because you're really an independent gallery featuring original art that is sort of out of the ordinary. And you have had many showings and events, even though we were locked down for a couple of years. But you were saying that generally most of the time you were able to be open?
Yes, most of the time we were open, except for, when there was actual lockdown. We had restrictions in place, so, we had to limit the numbers, and there are things we stopped doing, like we had a weekly drop-in life drawing class, and we had to stop that. But yeah, we've been carrying on and doing what we can and just trying to be part of the downtown. Of course, it was hard when the restaurants were closed recently, because people, that's one of the big draws, of course, of coming downtown. But anyway, we seem to be on the right path now. So looking forward to spring, when we can have some more events outside in our garden, and an exciting exhibition coming up as well, just before Easter.
Well, tell us about the exhibition.
Yes, so we're going to be exhibiting work by Tony Miller. This exhibition is called Potter's Field. So a lot of people probably know his work. He did have a major exhibition at the Tom Thompson just before the pandemic started. So it ended in March and had to close a bit early. That one was called Legacies. Tony Miller is a Black artist with many generations of history here in the Owen Sound area. And he likes to do work that is based on his community and his family. So the Tom Thompson exhibition was a lot of paintings, figurative work of his family. They're not completely representational. He sort of blends abstract and figurative work. He's also a book artist. So he published a book, which many of you may have seen. Actually, I have a visual aid here.
Daddy
Hall, which is about a person who is half Indigenous and half Black, who was an escaped slave. He had quite a remarkable history. So the book is a graphic novel. It's told in lino cuts. And Daddy Hall was a friend of Tony Miller's great-great-great-grandfather, and they ended up in Owen Sound. And so that's a tie-in to his exhibition with us, which is coming up. It's entitled Potter's Field, because it's about the Potter's Field graves that are in the Greenwood Cemetery. So there are over 1,000 mostly unmarked graves in that cemetery. And Tony's very interested in telling the story of some of those people. And his great-great-great-grandfather is one of the people who is buried there, but he does have a marker. So I think Tony's been doing a lot of research and just trying to find out more about the history of some of these people. So that, again, will be a very moving and important show, which begins just before Easter on April 13th, and it will continue until the end of May.
Wow.
Well, we have seen and interviewed Tony. So we've seen his works and interviewed him. And his paintings are stunning. They evoke so much emotion just by standing and viewing them. I'm really looking forward to this. So are these some of his new works?
Yes. These are works that he's been working on over the past year or year and a half or so, getting ready for this exhibition. Yeah.
Oh, do we have an opening ceremony or an event that people can go attend in person?
This will be our first real exhibition opening reception, and it will be on Saturday, April 30th. So if all goes well, which
yes.
So yes, it'll be so much better to be able to get together in person, because although people could come in small groups, it's really the excitement that's generated by an opening when the artists are there and members of the public are there and they get a chance to socialize, and artists love to talk to each other. So it's always it's fun, and we've really missed that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
looking forward to that very much. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
One of the other stunning features about Grey Gallery is the outdoor mural and by Rachel. Sorry, I just lost her last name.
Raquel Yang.
Right, Raquel Yang. And your gardens and how you developed that vacant, bland plot of land, and you've turned it into this magical place. So tell us more about the gardens.
Yes, I'm so happy to have that space, partly for very selfish reasons, because I can garden there. There is a small community garden, so there are 6 women who have raised beds, 6 downtown women who don't have access to outdoor space otherwise. And then there are the perennial beds, and there's some apple trees at the back. And we added a new center bed last summer. So there's a little path from the gate, and then there's a central bed with thyme and low growing plants. But there's still plenty of space for events and also for outdoor sculptures. So actually an exciting thing happened yesterday. Some of you may remember this giant life-size horse sculpture that's been in the garden for a year or more by Rhonda Wilson, and it was moved to a new home. It was sold, and so we moved it out yesterday. It was quite the event. So we did space. If there are artists out there who do outdoor sculptures, we'd be very happy to hear from them. And we're also planning some concerts and other events. So the first concert will be June 4th, Saturday at noon, and it'll be Dave Hawkins and Larry Jensen. And we hope to have some more events as well. So.
Wow. And this is sorry, Rhonda, go ahead.
No, that's, I was just like, wow, that's fantastic. What a great way to use the space to draw people downtown and highlight some local talent. That is an amazing idea.
Well, I think for your outdoor events, it's bring your own chair.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's like, like I think Owen Sound people are very used to this with summer folk and other events. So yes, ideally bring your own chair or you won't be very comfortable.
So are these concerts, will they all be a lunchtime sort of thing?
I think so. Yeah, we might change it up, but we're just sort of still in the planning stages, and we've got the first one nailed down, so we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Well, you're very smart in terms of having them at noontime concerts, because when people come downtown, and it's going to be, cross our fingers, really nice weather by then, they may choose to have a little lunch before they come or a little lunch after they come. And one of the things I've noticed about the downtown core in Owen Sound is the businesses all support each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're bringing people downtown for a concert who may drift into some of the shops or have something to eat.
Yes, and also people going to the market could stroll downtown afterwards. So yeah, we hope it will add to the excitement. Give people another reason for coming down.
So you co-own the Grey Gallery with your husband, John Laughlin, and he has been doing some workshops with life drawing skills. Is that going to be opening up again?
Yes, we're just trying to figure that out. I think we'll be able to start again. It might be a good idea for people to stay masked during a 2-hour indoor session. So we haven't quite figured out all the details yet, but we're hoping to start again after Easter.
So if with the nice weather, would you actually do some of it outside?
Well, it's a nude class. I don't think that would work out too well. The model perhaps wouldn't
That would be a little chilly. Oh, Mary Jane, oh my goodness.
Well,
we will not be offering up our services anytime soon. I think I can safely say that for Mary Jane and myself.
It's a figure drawing class. It's uninstructed. It's what people, working artists are used to doing this to kind of, hone their skills. They do it on a regular basis, and even artists who've been working for 30 or 40 years still like to do that life drawing practice. So
yeah. Oh,
it would be good to be able to start again. Show on right now. So he's included some abstract work, which is a little bit different from what he usually does. And, quite a variety, something different, as you said, out of the ordinary. We try to make as much as possible. I mean, it depends on the artists that we're showing, but we do try to have work that's accessible, that's affordable, that you don't have to be rich to be an art collector. So for a while we had figure sketches available for $1 a sketch, that kind of thing. We also try to have some vintage stuff. So we have, I don't know if you can see behind me, we have some bird prints on right now for spring, including some that aren't framed, that are.
Oh, that's pretty.
So, and the Japanese paper that we carry, again, that's something that a lot of people like, have it in large sheets, but also in packages. So people who do art and craft or bookbinders, collage artists, that paper is something that we offer that no one else has as well. So it's very beautiful and people enjoy working with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since Rhonda and I have been down to the physical location of the Grey Gallery, and we did some filming there 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
4 years ago. So it'll be a treat for us to be able to come down again and actually see. I think it's always so important that you are engaging local artists into your shop and featuring them in the wide variety. We have such an artistic community.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it would be great if you could come during Tony's show sometime and give people a chance to see it, on Rogers, people who can't come in person.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's wonderful to know that. I mean, because you started this beautiful gallery and you were full steam ahead, and then to have COVID come along and kind of put the shutters on a lot of different businesses and opportunities. Really glad that you're opening back up and still going strong. That's fantastic for our downtown.
I probably should mention Art Walk, which we're doing again this year. It's the last Saturday in June. So there'll be some new locations added, and it's an opportunity for people to kind of wander around all the gallery and studio spaces downtown, and there'll be events on, demonstrations and activities. So that is the last Saturday in June.
Oh, I had heard that that was coming up, but you know what is really great is that so many organizations and businesses now are really starting to promote being out and about in our communities. So that's I'm sorry, can I have the date again on that? June,
sorry. June 25th.
June 25th, okay. And because that draws people out in the nice weather, and because we do have so many art galleries in the downtown core.
And last year we added another event during that day, which is plein air sketching. So artists were positioned at various places downtown and they sketched for the day. And then there was a judging and prizes were awarded for the first and second place winners. So, and it was raining and the artists still persevered. Quite a few submissions and then they were on display in some of the storefront windows for a week or so afterwards. So that's a fun event to add.
Well, I think with an artist, once they get entrenched into their mindset of the piece of work that they're working on, everything else just kind of falls away. Time or weather.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great, and thank you so much for taking the time. And we're really looking forward to the new exhibit coming up with Tony Miller, because he's such a great artist in our community, along with so many of the others that you have been featuring. And of course, Emily Bai is another one of our favorites. Oh, Emily B, I'm sorry, B. Emily B is another one of our favorites as well. So there's lots going on through April and May and June, and we'll be a busy downtown area again coming up this spring and summer season.
Yeah, it definitely will. I look forward to seeing what replaces the big beautiful horse in the garden, because every time I drive by, I used to really enjoy seeing that. So it'll be interesting to see what the artists come up with and who gets put in that spot.
Yes, I hope
so artists can just contact you.
They can yes, please do. Yeah. Okay. We have what's as well, so yeah, it'd be fun to keep building on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful spot. It's like a little tranquility in the middle of the downtown, which is like, and I'm sure everybody who lives downtown greatly appreciate it as well.
Yes, I hear from many people how glad they are that that derelict lot has been transformed. So
absolutely. Thanks again, Anne, for joining us today from Grey Gallery. Don't touch that dial or that remote button. Stay tuned, because we've got more Grey County life at home with adorable adoptables.
Thank you very much.
I'm Cal Ewens, defenseman with Owen Sound Attack. Go behind the scenes with your favorite team on Attack Craft every Tuesday on Rogers TV.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdsville, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
As the fighting continues in Ukraine, thousands of people are fleeing for their lives, forced to leave everything behind. You can help them. Your donation to the Humanitarian Coalition will provide food, water, shelter, and medical care to the people of Ukraine who urgently need it. Call 1-855-461-2154 or donate online today at together.ca. That's together.ca. The Humanitarian Coalition. Together, saving more lives.
Focus better.
Partner better.
Sleep better.
Breathe better.
Love better. Work better. Friend better. Unwind better.
Everything gets better when you get active.
Welcome back to Grey County Life at Home. I'm Rhonda and I've got Charlie here. And oh my goodness, they are adorable, Renee. They are very adorable. Who are these cuties?
Well, these two little guys are almost available for adoption. They were lucky little ones who were born here Valentine's Day. So they're just over 5 weeks, not quite ready. But you know what? Spring is springing here at the animal shelter, and we're getting a lot of calls about baby kittens. So I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about not only these two, but what is probably ahead for us. Yay for spring. We love spring. The one thing that on our end of things that's not so great about spring is kittens. And as it seems, we're going to have some again, because here we are. It is still rather early in the year for us to be inundated with kittens. But in saying that, we really don't like to be. They run a high risk of not doing well here at the animal shelter. They run a risk of illness with stress. And certainly we like to see them come in and go out as quickly as we can. So the reason for this today is to sort of let people know that we have a waiting list. And what that means is beyond these two, and certainly they will be available, and we can talk about that too, there will be more. About April 1st-ish, we start to get calls about people's cats having kittens or cats that they find that have had kittens or are expecting kittens, and they start to come in. And again, we want them to move out as fast as possible. So if you're somebody who's in the market for a kitten, now is a good time for you to call me and get on that list. So for example, if you said, I'm looking for a male black and white long haired, look at this, I got one right here. And what I would do is give you a call the moment he becomes available. So what happens is we don't have to post. We don't have to go through all of that trouble of sorting through all of that. You get a call first and you get dibs. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't be posting. So if you're somebody who would rather wait to see a picture, you will get to. But what it means is you get to the back of the line. So somebody who's maybe got something in particular they're looking for, they can get a bit of an advantage. And to be honest, it makes the process easier on our end too. We can match you with the most appropriate pet. So for example, if you were looking for maybe an orange female, we don't get an awful lot of those. And say maybe 10 people wanted an orange female. If you put your name and number down for one, what would happen is you get a call and you wouldn't necessarily have to compete with those 9 other people for that orange female. Now, in saying that, if you are somebody who perhaps has kittens at home and you are thinking that you're planning on bringing them in, I need to tell you that things get a little tricky. As we operate, excuse me, my little friend, you can't stick there. As we operate as a no-kill shelter, it is important that we have space to accept them. We will not euthanize to make space. So same deal. I want you to give me a call so that maybe we can match you up with people, or alternatively, we can get you either in before the rush shows up, or maybe not need to help. You know, we can maybe direct you some other way to get you the help you need to get them home. So all of those things are in the works. Please do not wait until your kittens are 10 weeks or 11 or 12 weeks old and you're like, I've tried. Because the reality is what happens, that makes it a little harder on our end. For example, we spay neuter at about 5 or 6 months of age. And the reason for that, people don't like to adopt cats that aren't fixed. And we want them fixed, and that's the age to do it. And the reality is if you've got them in your home, you might be facing that same dilemma. So let's not wait for that to happen. Let's get all of those things taken care of so that they can be fixed when they need to be and so they can move home when they need to. So all good. Now, again, this one we talked about, he is a male and he's probably going to be long-haired. I would say he's probably going to be quite long-haired. And his little friend here is also a male. A little harder to see because the black cats, of course, blend in with my dark shirt. Here you are.
Like my Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. Also a male. and probably also going to be long-haired. But when I say that, not quite as fluffy as his friend, or his brother, I guess, but also a long-haired kitten. And the reason that I have selected these two, besides the fact they're the first two we're going to have ready, is that sometimes long-haired kittens are a little harder to find, a little less common. So if you're somebody who's looking for one, please give me a call. We will gladly take your name and number, and again, call you the minute they're available. These kittens will come with their vaccines. Hi, buddy. You're shaking a little bit. They will come dewormed and defleed, and they come with a bag of food and toys and all the complete starter stuff. As always, we encourage people to take two, so maybe we could work you out a deal if you wanted the pair. I mean, we let them know. Look at your little cute self. Let's zoom in on you. Look at your little cute self.
Yeah, he is actually just ridiculously cute, isn't he?
So I know that I know I want to get this in before we run out of time, because you have a fundraiser coming up.
We do. We're so excited. A live fundraiser. It's amazing. And we're so happy to be back. Heritage Place Mall on April 16th, Easter weekend, is having an extravaganza with their Easter egg hunt. And we have been very lucky to have been invited back this year. And we will be there with some live bunnies for viewing for your children to see and play with and meet. When I say that, we're not going to be passing them around and sharing, but we'll get to see them. There is, however, the real Easter bunny going to be there, costume style Easter bunny, and he will be available for photographs. So you will have the opportunity to meet the big guy. And all of that is done by donation, with proceeds to the Spay-Neuter Medical Fund at the Owen Sound Animal Shelter. Very excited to be there, happy to see people. And of course, as always, seeing them happy and enjoying things and enjoying animals is great. And additionally, it's a Spay-Neuter fundraiser, which is huge. So let's be honest, maybe next year we won't have so many baby kittens, right? Right.
Ulterior motive behind this, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, not that we don't love them, we just don't love them, right? Right.
So, spring is the seasonal explosion for kittens. So, yeah.
It absolutely is. And we, every year we hope that maybe we'll get lucky and there won't be any, but so far we've not approached that. In saying that, there are less in other areas. We are getting calls from people as far away as Sarnia who can't locate kittens, which is a little weird, but you can travel. We will accommodate. We are still open by appointment, which makes the process a little bit easier. And we can certainly arrange to have you come down on a day that suits, which is good. Right?
That's fantastic. We love what you guys do for our community, Renee. Thanks so much for bringing the boys on the show. And we'll wait patiently to find out if they're gone somewhere next week. Don't forget to join us next week on Grey County Life at Home. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
As the fighting continues in Ukraine, thousands of people are fleeing for their lives, forced to leave everything behind. You can help them. Your donation to the humanitarian coalition will